Piers, he's a chef, and he works in the local pub, the Red Lion, and he's fascinated and interested in American Indians. You can see that by the feathers and sort of top he's got here. So I got him this old hat so he could stick the feathers in the back. And then this guy, he's somebody like Geronimo or Cochise. We got him off the internet. So we blew it up, or I blew it up. And from that, I could produce this image. Les, as you can see from that, he's obviously retired, and one of his jobs is to sweep the bus shelter. I think he goes on the school run as well. And he's a real character. I was talking to him this morning, actually. And his family, according to, I think, the church records, they've lived in the village 400 years. I mean, that's amazing, isn't it? I think there's 2 families that go to beds in Stretham that are not related, as far as they know. And then obviously there's a lot in Ely and in the Fens, I think. So that's quite a common name. I'd like to keep the collection all together. It would be satisfying to me if they could be shown somewhere else. Like Norwich or London or somewhere. So I'm making some inquiries to see whether, to see whether they could be shown.
They should be, shouldn't they?
And kept together as a collection.
What's the general reaction from people when they see them?
They're quite very happy about them, and well, they don't tell me that particularly the men, because well, I mean, normally you get the mickey taken out of you, don't they? So when I go in the pub, they say, "Oh, here comes Picasso." So, you know, you're put down on a while, which is fine, which is how you want to be. So they're quite honest and basic about it, yeah. What I normally do, I'll get somebody to come, obviously, to my house, and then I get them to sit or stand in different poses, and I will walk around them. I've got a little tiny camera, because I'm no photographer, so I've got a little tiny digital camera, and I'll take perhaps 80 to 120 photographs of them, you know, from the waist up, as with these. And then from that, I'll select one. I'll select one which I think, 1 or 2, or perhaps half a dozen that I think are suitable. And then I'll get some A4 prints completed and use them as a reference to drawing them and painting them. So some days I might spend 5-6 hours painting. Some days only an hour, sometimes in the night, sometimes early morning. So if I'm restless at night, I'll get up and do some work. So it's an ongoing creative process, really. I started at the end of 2011, getting people interested, and I started painting 2012. And one of the most difficult things, I suppose, was getting people to come to my house and studio. The logistics of that were difficult because people haven't got the time, they're working during the day and all their other commitments. But ultimately, that's all come together, and here we are. So, well, I've been painting on and off all my life, right from a teenager. So, but I've had gaps in between where you do other things, and I did some house building. I did some projects, again, outside of my job. So I'd buy a property or piece of land and do a house up. They usually took about 2 years each one. So I've done a number of those. I'm a friend of the National Portrait Gallery, and I'm a friend of the Royal Academy and of the galleries in the Mall. So from that, I can go up to London and see what the competition is. There was nothing in my background about art or literature or music or anything. So I've really trained myself, but I was lucky enough to become an apprentice sign writer, and I went to the Cambridge College of Arts and Technology. You know, they do a day release and evening classes and so on. So we did a bit of life drawing and learning how to use brushes, which we called pencils, a mile stick, you know, with the knob on the end. So I did all that for a number of years, went into exhibition work, then I went into graphics and litho, screen printing, so forth. So I was able to understand how paint worked and how to keep your brushes and so forth. So from that, I was able to get to the level I am now with a lot of experimental work and so on and so forth. I would like to be a bit looser, to paint them. There's a particular portrait on the back wall there, which is a little bit looser, and the brush strokes are a bit harsher. And I'd like to go down that road rather than this very refined work. It's a learning curve all the time, I feel. So I would like to try everything, but that's the time, isn't it? You know, I'm running out of time. I'm at the wrong end of my life.
That's this life business.
From my background, you see, the idea you became an artist was not even on the agenda. So my ambition now is to try and prove to myself that I can do better and better. So it's really, I'm really working against myself. That's why I don't sell anything, because I'm not really interested in the money. I'm actually interested in my own standards.